Welcome to the Tech Law Podcast, where we explore legal issues affecting technology companies, from startups to the giants. If it's tech and it's legal, we talk about it here. The show is presented by Pillar Legal. We help tech leaders protect their companies so they can focus on innovation and growth. Hello, I am Greg Pilarowski, your host for the Tech Law Podcast. What are we speaking about today? A critical question that founders face at the start of their new company, which is, where should I incorporate my US tech startup? We also have a text post with the same content. You'll see the link to that in the show notes. So if you prefer text to video or podcast, that's the place to go. So where should I incorporate? The short answer is Delaware. Why? The answer to that is because everybody else does. As a tech startup, you don't really want to give investors a reason to say no. And if you go to a jurisdiction that's different from what everybody else is doing, then that's just one more thing for those investors to think about as they're deciding whether or not to put some funds into your company. Now, I know what you're thinking. Now, wait a minute. Elon Musk, he says, go to Texas, go to Nevada. Mark Zuckerberg is also considering moving to Texas. I think if you are a billionaire and you anticipate having a $55 billion pay package that might be challenged by shareholders in the way that Elon was, maybe Texas makes sense for you. Or if you're unhappy about a court deciding that, yes, you do need to be deposed in connection with Cambridge Analytica litigation relating to data privacy, then yes, sure. If you're Elon, if you're Mark, maybe somewhere else makes sense. But if you happen to be one of us mere mortals, a humble entrepreneur looking for that first angel investor check, go with Delaware. Now, the rest of this podcast, I'm going to talk about why Delaware is so dominant as the home to corporate America. But if you're short on time and you want to know where to incorporate your tech startup, where you're looking to raise VC funds, then Delaware C Corp it is. You could stop right there. In terms of Delaware's dominance, just a little bit of statistics. From 2023, over 68% of Fortune 500 companies were incorporated in Delaware, and 80% of all U.S. IPOs that occurred that year were for companies that were incorporated in Delaware. Now, are there companies that are big, successful, that are incorporated elsewhere? For sure. But the vast majority pick Delaware. Now, why do people go to Delaware? One key reason is because Delaware has the Court of Chancery, which is a specialized set of courts that hears corporate matters, commercial matters as well. They don't have jury trials, 7 judges. They tend to move a bit faster than other jurisdictions. Contrast that with, say, California. The superior courts here in California, they're the only state level trial courts, so they handle both civil and criminal cases, which means that today is a murder case, tomorrow a corporate law case, so they're not as specialized as the courts in Delaware. They also have jury trials, and with the jury, there's always that John Grissom possibility of the runaway jury making decisions that are a little bit unusual. So folks tend to think that specialized courts do a bit better. At this point, a lot of other states have followed Delaware to create specialized business courts. We have over 24 that are competing in that space. So this is not something that Delaware has a lock on, but Delaware has been doing it for the longest amount of time. And that is perhaps another reason why Delaware is pretty popular. There's 200 years of legal precedence resulting from a high volume of corporate law cases. And that makes it so that folks tend to be pretty certain on how Delaware courts are going to rule on different things. Whereas in California or some of the other jurisdictions, there might be a little bit less certainty. In addition, the Delaware corporate law statute, it is reviewed every single year by the Corporate Law Council. of the Delaware State Bar Association, and they recommend changes on an ongoing basis to keep up with the latest developments. One other reason why Delaware tends to be pretty popular is because corporate lawyers across the United States are all familiar with Delaware. So again, it's one of these tipping point things. I remember when I graduated from law school back in 2000 and went off to a Wall Street law firm. The first present that I received upon arrival was 2 corporate law statutes, one for New York, because that's where we were, and the other one was for Delaware. So not Texas, not anywhere else, just Delaware. That's, as corporate lawyers, that's what we needed to know. And it's Delaware precedents that everybody looks at across the United States. In addition, many legal resources and standardized templates and best practices, they're all set up for Delaware. So ourselves at Pillar Legal, we create forms that work in Delaware. We have some things for California because that's where we're based, but Delaware is the other core precedent. In addition, the National Venture Capital Association, NVCA, their Series A form documents, all designed for Delaware. The Series Seed form documents, again, all designed for Delaware. So Delaware is the place to go. There are some other considerations. If you do register your company in Delaware, but then you have your headquarters somewhere else, as is pretty common, you would then need to register in both places. So there's 2 annual filings, 2 sets of franchise tax. That's a little bit of a hassle. But if you're raising venture capital funds, you really do want to look like everybody else. So you want to be that Delaware company. That's about it, folks. I hope that this is useful for you. And as I say, we've also have a text post of the same thing. And I wish you luck as you go out there setting up your company in Delaware.
The Tech Law Podcast is presented by Pillar Legal. For more information about tech, startup, and video game law, visit our website. Follow us on LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Links are in the show notes. And now for the legal stuff. We are lawyers, after all. This podcast is for educational purposes only. The information presented in the show should not be construed as legal advice. And listening to the show does not establish an attorney-client relationship. In addition, the information presented has not been updated since the episode publication date. It may be required to be updated or customized for particular facts and circumstances. Any views expressed by guests are not necessarily the views of Pillar Legal. If you need help with any legal matter, be sure to consult an attorney. And if you don't have one, consider contacting us. This podcast episode may be considered attorney advertising under applicable law.